So today's episode, we're diving into those tear-jerking moments. When he stops, you'll start crying again. He keeps playing, and I'm like, wow. I love this performance. Subtitles. They once loved each other as if in a fairy tale, but since the day they met you, human hearts can change as swiftly as the weather. Annie fled, initially saying she wanted a new chapter, but now she's thinking, did someone tear this page? Or will she end up like one of the Snow Whites, getting used to betrayal? Why do you like him? Because he's my husband. Other than that, do I love him just because he makes breakfast? Maybe the most pointless thing is chasing a fantasy, like looking for unicorn fruit at the grocery store. At first, Annie had her plans looking for a rich gentleman. Honestly, who wouldn't want a Mercedes in the driveway? This is the bottom line, gotta keep standards in life, right? Money can't buy your kids happiness. These days, gentlemen stand for manners and respect, but if standards are only used to judge others, disappointment is like that paint store owner, hiding everything and embellishing lies. He's practically a lie artist. Subtitle, he, posing as a quasi-seasonal female figure, had said some words to George. Do you think this was a kind of cunning trick? And then observe what happened after he was caught by his wife. Her behavior is laughable, as if she's entrusted her life to a babysitter who can't even watch a goldfish. How silly, and Annie is short on survival skills. During long trips, she could totally earn tips by hitching rides. After settling in LA, she could play the role of a mud-caked pedestrian without breaking a sweat. All the women in the world, and at the end, a rich gentleman actually invites Annie home. Subtitles. Annie refused, stating, I forgot that I loved you, but you know what? I'm aware that I don't need you. Refusing to rely on others for hope is Anna's smart choice. Life's full of magic tricks. Deep down, she doesn't know how to find a direction, like searching for a power switch in the dark. No matter her choices, she feels upgraded when facing betrayal. She retreats like the tide. She never lets discomfort creep into her relationships, always believing she deserves a better life. Even if her son opposes her, this trait gives Annie the potential to break free. She jumps away from traditional views of women, but Anna's real new chapter shouldn't just be about abandoning ship. Because in traditional relationships, not getting equal treatment for a long time makes it hard to rebuild. Take Anna's sister, same mom, but not necessarily more attractive than Annie. After marriage, her house is worse than Anna's pre-divorce one. Hearing Anna's engagement, she melts down. She keeps complaining about how ordinary she is, working hard for years with no kids, while her beautiful sister easily juggles two. She's envious of her sister, but mostly disappointed in herself, while Annie just stares blankly at her. She doesn't understand what's driving the person in front of her crazy, looking just as confused during her moments with her son. Post-dinner drama, Annie plans a late-night trip to LA, while George is like, no, I'm sticking with my buddies. That impatient, clueless look finds its way back to Anna's face. I'm not going anywhere, who's driving? A rocket. At the same time, Annie seems to hope George remains her little prince, which George finds a bit off-putting. Especially when he finds out Mom's headed to LA to support his dream. George is her child with the first husband. Maybe because the eldest son lost his dad at a young age, Anna's always gentle with George, like a sweet grandma. Allowing George to knit comfortably in the car while asking for his fashion advice is like sitting at a fashion show. Praising George's acting talent, even chasing the Hollywood dream together. When George asks Annie everything from writing to dreams, she freezes like someone asked her a math problem. It turns into what book she's reading lately. Everyone jumps in, and Anna's left clueless. At this moment, Annie cries, but on the day she left, she said, go on, take those bad kids with you. Why should I care? Annie knows, but that wasn't said out of spite. There were just too many people around him. So many, George has not needed a great attitude. When George finds her, she hesitates briefly, then smiles apologetically. going from an unsupported single to dating, and he thinks she is so resume being a responsible mom. She wants it all. Aren't you an ungrateful person? She mumbles to herself. You're a stinky mother. Annie drives off, and what a dramatic end to this saga. Through the rearview mirror, she sees George standing at the door watching her leave. Deep down, he cares. Before the wedding between Annie and the Colonel, a loyalty test was done on George, seeing how subservient he could be. George said, yet when he sees the Colonel ready to strike Annie, George is horrified but doesn't yell stop. His submission comes from worrying about Mom's well-being. George needs reciprocal care. So, when he finds out Annie left the compensation for her aunt, George decides not to stick around. She wants to reclaim the remaining compensation and reaches out to her brother, returning to Annie while the adventure continues.